Hey sweet friends, it's Barbara and welcome back to my channel. Today I have 10 fun, easy to do Dollar Tree Halloween DIYs. So let's go ahead and get started on our first project. Using 3 of these foam dice from Dollar Tree, I am going to give those 2 coats of my Waverly chalk paint in the color Truffle. Now originally I was going to paint 2 of those with some acrylic paint in the color Pumpkin Orange, but as you can tell, after 2 coats, it just was not giving it good coverage to cover up that dice, so I opted to go ahead and paint all 3. Then come back in with that same Pumpkin Orange paint. Now this is made by Apple Barrel, and I'm going to dry brush all over all 3 of these pieces on all the sides, and I am heavily dry brushing it to give it that nice orange tint. Using some of these letter stickers from Dollar General. They're my favorite stickers to use, and I think they're a couple of dollars. I am going to place these down using some matte Mod Podge, and then I went back over the sticker with the Mod Podge to not only seal it in, but it gives it a little bit more of a matte finish so that it doesn't look so shiny and so much like a sticker. Now, after that dries, I'm going to take my oil-based Sharpie and flip it over, and on the side, the right-hand side of the lettering that I put on there, I'm just going to draw a couple of cute jack-o'-lantern faces, and you can get very creative and draw whatever kind of faces you want on there. You can even draw the faces on all 3 sides. I only did it for one side, which was the right-hand side of the lettering. Once the marker has dried, I'm going to stack them on top of each other, but tilt them a little bit so that you'll be able to see the lettering as well as the faces. And I'm going to secure all of that together using some hot glue. Now, since this is styrofoam, you want to make sure that your glue gun is set on low, because if you have that on hot, it will melt that styrofoam. Once I have all 3 of those together, now they look like cute wood blocks. I'm going to create a messy bow to go on top of it. Using some of this orange burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree, I just cut a length of it off, and I'm going to cut that down into 4 sections. And I'm also going to use some black gingham ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut that down in 4 sections, but I did cut 2 of those a little bit shorter than the rest so I can place those on top, and they'll have a little bit of a different length. I alternated them on top of each other, and then to tie it together, I am going to use some thin orange ribbon from Walmart, and I'm just going to wrap that around the center and tie it in a knot. Well, no, actually I tied it in a bow on the top and left that little bit of excess hanging off. So now you have a cute little bow on the top, and I can glue that down right on top of there using my hot glue. Now you have a cute Halloween decor piece that cost you less than $1 because you only used 3 out of the 4 blocks. And I love how this turned out. It looks like wood. I love the colors on it, and you can get so creative with this. You guys let me know what you think of project number 1. Now let's get started on project number 2. Starting off with one of these wood decor signs from Dollar Tree, I'm going to take some Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm going to carefully paint that on all of the lettering, especially around the bats and the jack-o'-lantern, to create the shapes for the lettering, but also to make sure that I don't get any of that wax on those pieces, since I'm going to paint those a different color. Once the wax has dried, I am going to take some black chalkboard craft paint, and I get this paint from Dollar General. I think it's a couple of dollars, and it lasts a really, really long time. I'm going to paint all of those bats in 1 coat, and then that same Apple Barrel Pumpkin Orange, I'm going to paint that jack-o'-lantern. Then you're going to set that to the side and let all of your paint dry. And we're going to use this sign from Dollar Tree. Remove the ribbon and the staples from the back, and we're going to set that football to the side because for this project, we're only going to use these 3 pumpkins. Now, I like the shape of each of these pumpkins as well as those ribs. I did go around it and sand the edging as well as some on the top because those outside edges were a little rough. I'm going to take that same pumpkin orange and go over these pumpkins with 2 coats to kind of make sure that it matches our first sign we painted. Once that paint dries on all three of these pumpkins, I'm going to take that same antique wax, go over the stem for for all three, as well as paint in a couple of the ribs just on the outside edge, not in the center because we are going to create faces in the center. Once I have all three of those done, and again, you make sure your wax is dry, I'm going to take a pencil and draw a couple of different faces. So I wanted two of them to be very similar and the one in the center to be a little bit different. And again, you can get so creative and make so many different kinds of faces. Once I was done, I originally took my fine tip Sharpie, but it was not dark enough, so I did go back in with the oil-based Sharpie to fill in everything that I had already drawn with the pencil. And these little faces are so cute, so you can make yours scary or happy or however you like. Get done filling that in. I'm going to push those to the side for a minute and let that Sharpie marker dry. And take the first sign that we painted and some jute rope and create a hanger. I'm just going to feed that through the hole that was originally on the sign and tie a knot in the back, and I do put a dot of glue back there to hold that in place. Cut the length off, and then I will do the exact same thing on the other side. Then I can take those two pieces and I'm going to line them up, and you'll see in just a minute when I'm talking about how we're going to attach this, and it'll be two signs in one. To attach my pumpkins together, I'm going to use some hot glue, and I'm lining it up to make sure everything's lined up with the bottom sign, and I placed the center pumpkin right on top of the outside edges of the two bottom pumpkins. Then I wanted to make sure everything is lined up and that my jute rope is going exactly where I want it to be and that it's pretty even. And then I can secure that down on the back of those pumpkins using some hot glue. And I'll also go back in with a couple pieces of small ribbon just to give it some added security to make sure that the jute rope doesn't come off of the back of the sign. Once I have that in place, I'm just going to tie a very simple bow at the very top, and that's going to create the hanger for our sign, but I do also go in and add a little bit of hot glue to make sure that the bow doesn't come apart, you know, if you hang it up on your door or your wall or wherever. And I think this is super cute for $2. How adorable. Again, so fun. Something you could do with your children or your grandchildren. It's just, I love it. You guys let me know what you think of project number 2. Now let's get started on project number 3. We are going to start off with one of these terracotta pots. I bought this from Dollar Tree back in the spring, and it is 3.5 inches in diameter on the top of the pot. I gave this one good solid coat of my black chalkboard craft paint. Especially make sure you get that bottom because the bottom's going to become the top. And then I'm going to take one of these glass jars from Dollar Tree. Super cute. I love this little lid. It's perfect just the way it is. And I'm going to attach that to the bottom of the terracotta pot using some E6000 for that permanent hold and some hot glue for the temporary hold. And this almost looks like a little bubblegum machine. It's so cute. To give it a little bit of color, I'm going to take some of that same orange ribbon from Walmart and just tie a very simple bow right there where the glass jar meets the bottom of that terracotta pot. And then you can fill this with your favorite candy. In this case, I'm going to fill mine with some candy corn, which I love candy corn. You guys let me know in the comments if you guys like candy corn too. But this is such a cute Halloween decor piece. And actually, you could take that bow off and use it all year round and put what other kind of candies you like in there. It's just really cute. You guys let me know what you think of this project. Now we're going to move on to project number 4. We are starting off with one of Dollar Tree's glass candle holders. I'm going to give that 2 coats of the black chalk paint because the first coat you could still see the glass a little bit through. And make sure that you paint the top part of it. And then we're going to use 3 of these plastic cauldrons from Dollar Tree. They come in a pack of 4 for $1. And right there on the side where the little handles are, I'm going to use some of these white stickers from Dollar Tree. They weren't very sticky, so I did put a dot of glue on there. And I'm going to place the stickers to spell out boo. You could leave the stickers off if you like. I just thought it gave it a little something extra and really cute. I made sure that all my handles were going opposite before I glue everything down. So I'm going to glue the first cauldron right there on top of the candlestick, and then make sure that my handle for the next cauldron is going in the opposite way. And I'm going to hot glue that one down and then do the exact same thing for the top one. But before we put the top one on there, I want to put in one of those LED votive candles from Dollar Tree, and I wanted it to sit flush in this cauldron, but I needed some space at the bottom. So I'm going to take 2 of these tumbling tower pieces and my miter shears and cut the ends of it off. Now, using those miter shears, you do have to score it a couple of times with it before you can actually cut that edge off. Once I get that down to where the votive candle will sit flush, I'm going to hot glue those 2 pieces together and then very carefully hot glue the bottom and place that down in the cauldron, let that set up, and then I could place my LED candle right on top and it'll sit flush on there. Now I can attach my top one right there onto the second one, place my candle in there, and to give it just a little something extra, we're going to add a bow using some of that Dollar Tree burlap ribbon and cut a couple of thin strands off. I cut about 4 strands, and using that same thin ribbon from Walmart, I'm just going to tie the center and double knot it on the back, but I actually leave the length of the thin ribbon on there so that it'll hang down a little bit when I attach this to the front of the candle holder. And I thought this just added an extra little bit of cuteness and a pop of color. And I'm going to call this a candle tower. You guys let me know what you think of this Halloween candle tower. I think it's super cute. Again, you could leave those stickers off and it would be just as cute. And look how cute it is with our candy dish we just created. Let's get started on project number 5. We're going to start off with one of these signs, and I think this one came from Family Dollar, and I had the worst time trying to get that label off the back, so I just sanded it down smooth. I painted it with 1 coat of the black chalk paint, and I'm using some of these window clings from Dollar Tree. I'm going to attach one of those using some Mod Podge, and it fit perfect. Now, it took away a little bit of the color because I painted it black. If you recreate it, you may want to paint it a lighter color because it does darken up those really bright, pretty colors on those window clings. So I attached that using some Mod Podge, and then I cut those extra corners off of the edging at the top. And now, just to give it a little extra something, we're going to add some of this tinsel from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue that down at the edging where the window cling meets the sign. And now you have just a really cute Halloween piece that you could set on a tier tray or, you know, wherever. It's just really cute. I kind of like how it turned out, even though I did paint it a really dark color on the back. Let me know what you guys think. All right, project number 6, we're going to use this wood pumpkin decor piece from Dollar Tree. Remove that label off the back. Now this one was a little bit easier to remove I heated it up with my hairdryer and removed that raffia bow. Keep that because we're going to reattach it, and use one of these plastic candy gift bags from Dollar Tree. Now this will be a 2-sided decor piece, so you can keep the front just like it is, and we're going to apply this to the back part. So I just cut the front part of the bag off with my scissors, and now once I have all that cut out, I'm going to attach it again using some matte Mod Podge. I put a nice even coat on there, really emphasizing on those outside edges to make sure that it seals good. And then you can place that plastic bag right there. How cute is that? I love the little design, and they have so many different kinds of plastic bag designs at Dollar Tree. Let that dry after I pressed all those wrinkles out. Then I went back in and trimmed all the excess off. And again, see, you can use the front for the fall, and then you have a cute Halloween sign on the back. And then I went over it with the Mod Podge to seal everything in. And then I can reattach my cute raffia bow right at the top on the stem, And I think this one turned out so cute. I love that green color. It was so easy to do and so inexpensive and just really super cute. You guys, if you're new to my channel and you are enjoying today's video, I would love for you to click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be reminded the next time I upload a brand new video. Also visit me on Instagram, my website for free printables, and my Pinterest board. Okay, on to project number 7. We are going to start off using this round sign from Dollar Tree. Remove the tag and the label from the back. Again, I had a difficult time removing that, so I ended up sanding it down nice and smooth. And I'm going to use the Happy Halloween portion of this gorgeous calendar from Dollar Tree. It has some really beautiful designs in there, and it fits perfectly on this round sign, so I just centered it up and made sure that I kept the hole at the top so that I would be able to cover that later on in the project. I traced that out, cut it down, and I'm going to attach this to the back of our sign, which is now going to become the front of our sign, using again some matte Mod Podge. I made sure I put a nice even coat on there, and you don't want it to be too thick because you don't want to saturate your paper, and make sure that you get those outside edges so it gets a real good seal. Then I'm going to place that on there and again use this nifty little roller from Plaid to get all of those wrinkles or air bubbles out and let that dry. Once it dries, I'm just going to take some sandpaper, go in one direction all the way around this sign to remove any excess paper on there. And I wanted it to have a nice completed look and to kind of cover up all that glitter on the back. So I'm just using some craft paper and a regular glue stick to attach that to the back of the sign because, you know, when you get stuff from Dollar Tree, glitter just kind of gets everywhere. And I didn't want the glitter to be getting on the wall or wherever you decide to hang it. And once I get that in place and press it out nice and flat, I'm going to create a bow to go on the front using some of that same burlap ribbon. Now, I didn't want my loops on my bow to be as wide as this ribbon, so I'm cutting it in half. And I'm going to create my bow just by creating loops on each end and then kind of going off to the side, creating another loop. And I'll do the exact same thing for the other orange piece. So it'll be a nice full bow, but it'll have the nice thinner width of the ribbon. And I'm just creating loops, going to the side, and then I'll kind of just set my scissors on top of it to hold it in place so I can take some more of that Dollar Tree black gingham ribbon and create another bow the same way with about 3 loops on each side and leave some length for the tails. And then attach that on top of the orange, tying it off with some of that thin ribbon. And then I'll cut my gingham ribbon off at an angle, the tails. And then I placed it up on the sign and I felt like it just wasn't quite full enough. I really just didn't like the way it looked on the top. So I do go in and add an extra layer of orange, and I'll show you that in just a minute. I'm going to create a hanger for the back using some tinsel cord and attach that with some hot glue. And then I will put a little pieces of that leftover black ribbon on top just to secure it and hold it in place. And see, once I put that bow up there with the hot glue, I just felt like, I don't know, I felt like I kind of just wanted some more orange on the top, so I created a smaller orange bow with the tails and just tied it off with that same thin ribbon and glued that right in the center. And I just thought that looked better. So you guys let me know, do you like it better with the orange in the front, or did it look better with the black ribbon in the front? Either way, this is a very simple project and it turned out so cute. So let me know what you think of this one. Now we're going to move on to project number 8, which is this really cute witch. Using one of Dollar Tree's styrofoam balls, it is the 1.9 inch size. I gave that 2 good coats of Apple Barrel's Apple Orchard green paint and this glass candle holder. Now I've had this so long I can't even remember if I got it from Dollar Tree. If you guys have seen this at Dollar Tree, let me know because I really can't remember where I got it. But I gave that 1 good coat of the black chalk paint, and I thought this would be a cute little dress for the witch at the bottom. I'm using that last cauldron that we used from previous project that was a pack of 4. And I'm just going over it with my black chalk paint to kind of give it a matte finish so it would match that candle holder better and not be so shiny. Then draw a little witch's face on the styrofoam ball. So if you had a ping pong ball, that might work better since this was pretty rough texture from the styrofoam. Glued that on top of the cauldron. And then I'm taking some of Dollar Tree's yarn and I'm just going to pull out a really good long amount and kind of drape it over so that it will be long enough for the hair. So I'm actually going to be tying it in the center, so you want enough for it to hang off of each side for the witch's hair. And once you have that tied in the center, you can cut all the loops out of each end. And then I'm going to hot glue that right on top of the styrofoam ball. And you can use as much yarn as you want, however thick you want the hair to be on top. Once I have that in place, I'm going to trim it up a little bit and even it on each side, give it a cute little haircut, and spread that out. And then I'm going to hot glue that cauldron right on top of the bottom of that glass candle holder. And that's going to become the witch's skirt. I decided to go ahead and give her a few bangs before I place her hat on there. And Dollar Tree sells these cute picks with the hats on top for about $4 in a pack. And I hot glued that on top. And then I'm going to take that same ribbon from Walmart and wrap a little bit around where the styrofoam meets the cauldron. And then I decided to go ahead and wrap a little bit more down there where the cauldron meets the glass candle holder. And I thought it just kind of gave it a little bit more distinction between the cauldron and the candle holder and made it look more like her little dress, like a little belt. And then the hair for the yarn, I'm going to untwist that. So when you unravel it, it's about 3 strands in one. And it gave it really cute curls. And I'll do that for all of the pieces of yarn. And it gives her a nice curly, thicker hair. And I also did those bangs. I'm using some of these pop stickers from Dollar Tree, and I liked the green color because it kind of complemented her face. And I'm going to hot glue 2 on the front for buttons. And now we can make her a broom using a barbecue skewer, and I gave that 1 good coat of the truffle chalk paint. And then using some jute rope, I'm just going to create like a very mini tassel. So I'm just wrapping that around a couple of my fingers, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 times. And I'm going to tie that around the very top end of one of them. Really tightly, double knot that, and then I'm going to cut the loops out of the opposite end that I just tied. And once I get those loops cut out, I'll kind of trim it up and make sure everything's sort of even. And then I'm going to cut that barbecue skewer down to the length that I want her broomstick to be. And once I cut that down, I'm just going to insert that into the top part of where we just tied that knot, and then put a little bit of glue to make sure it stays in place. And then I'm going to hot glue that to the actual cauldron so it kind of looks like she's holding her broomstick. I think this would be a really fun project to do with the kids or your grandkids or just for yourself. I think she turned out really cute, and she really looks cute close to this or next to this ghost that I found at Dollar Tree. Let me know, you guys, what you think of this little mini witch. Now we're going to move on to project number 9. Starting off with this trick or treat wood sign from Dollar Tree. Remove the hanger, and I'm going to fill in those holes with some spackling, let that dry, and then sand it down nice and smooth. And I'm going to paint all of the lettering using the white Waverly chalk paint, including the inside and outside crevices of the sign. And I'm going to use that same pumpkin orange paint by Apple Barrel to paint the jack-o'-lanterns. And I'm just trying to make sure I'm careful and I don't get it on the white paint on the lettering. And once that's painted, we're going to set that to the side, and we're going to use this chalkboard sign from Dollar Tree. Again, remove that hanger, remove that sticker off of the back. The back is now going to become the front. And once I get that removed, I am going to use some E6000 because the chalkboard sign is pretty slick and I wasn't sure just hot glue is going to hold it there. So I used E6000 on the back of the wood sign, and then in opposite spots of the E6000 I added the hot glue for that temporary hold. And I put it off to the side of where those holes are because I'm going to put a little bit of ribbon on that side to give it a nice pop of color and also to cover up those holes on the chalkboard sign. So I just cut that same burlap ribbon down in half, and I'm going to wrap it around that side and secure it in place on the back using some hot glue. And I love how this sign turned out. I love that pop of color on the front. I think this is so cute. You could set this up with your cute candy dish right in front of it for the trick-or-treaters. Let me know, you guys, what you think of project number 9. Okay, you guys, for project number 10 and our last project for today's video, we're going to start off with this glass cup from Dollar Tree using some Waverly White chalk paint. I gave that 2 coats. And I try to make it as smooth as possible. If you get any bumps, just take some fine grit sandpaper after it dries and sand that down nice and smooth. Take that same pumpkin orange apple barrel paint, and I'm going to paint the bottom rim and then the actual bottom of the cup to give it a cute little pop of that orange color at the bottom. I also made sure that I painted the inside rim at the top of the cup with that white chalk paint just a little ways down in case you could see it. I took a black Sharpie oil-based marker, drew in a cute jack-o'-lantern face on the front, and then I made a bow. Now I made this bow originally for the round Halloween sign, and I didn't like the way it looked because it was kind of covering up the sign. So I'm going to show you how I made it, and that's why you're going to see the Halloween sign there. So I cut that burlap ribbon in half, and when you do that, because it's already wrapped around, it makes these beautiful little curls at the bottom. So I just created one loop at the top and held it in place. Took the other one and created a loop at the top and kind of crisscrossed them and left those really cute curls for tails at the bottom. And just tied my 2 loops at the top together and took that black gingham ribbon, created 2 loops at the top with the nice long tails, and I dovetailed the ends of the black gingham ribbon and I tied it all together using that small orange ribbon from Walmart. And I love the way it looked with those cute curls, but again, it was kind of covering up my sign, so I set it to the side and it fit perfect on this project. So I'm just going to take that same thin ribbon and tie it around, leave a little bit of length on there so I can tie that at the top of the handle of the cup. And I love the way those tails curled around like it was her hair. It's so cute. So I am using some Spanish moss to fill this in, and I'm going to fill it in with some of these bittersweets from Dollar Tree. I just pulled those off and placed them in there, and a couple of these flowers off of this filler bouquet, and I set it on one of these candle stands from Target, and I love how this one turned out. It is so cute. You guys, if you have a favorite out of today's video, please let me know in the comments down below. I always love to know which one is your favorite. I want to thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate each and every one of you. And if you haven't done so already, I would love for you to click that subscribe button and the notification bell. Thanks again, guys, so much. Please take care, and I will see you guys next time.